right, open your Bibles with me. I'm going to give you a passage out of Colossians. If you, I would encourage you to go on our Facebook or YouTube and check out the last two Wednesday nights. Last two Wednesday nights, we've broken down two parables. One was Lazarus and the rich man, and the other one was the separation of the sheep and goats. And I promise you, you will see it totally different than you've ever seen it before. And, you know, sometimes I feel like a broken record doing that. But you have to understand that's what Reformation is. Reformation means to reform. So if you're reforming something, there's a new form that you're not going to recognize. Come on, anybody ever remodeled a house? I mean, it looks different. But when you're remodeling, man, there's a mess. You know, because even though you want to upgrade things, there's some things that you have memories of you like to hang on to. All right? I mean, how many of y'all never want to get rid of your VCRs, right? You still got VCR tapes. I mean, listen, I had a hard time with that when I was a kid because my first vehicle, we had an 8-track tape. Most people don't even know what an 8-track is. And that little old cassette came out, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And then, guess what? You have to change. Why? Because they quit doing the 8-track. No, they even make them no more. Oh, you might have one that works, but you can't get updated music on it. You listening to Hank Williams, what you listening to? Ain't no Ceylon Delon, what's her name? Ceylon Lilani Donnie, whoever y'all went to Vegas. They just got back from Vegas watching her. Celine, is it Celine? Celine Dion. I can say it in tongues. I bet you can't get her on no 8-track. So some of that stuff, you know, we laugh about it, but it's like the theology and doctrine of the church is still 8-track. Matter of fact, I ain't gonna say it's 8-track. It's record player. And you start trying to upgrade people, and they won't let go. No, I got all these albums, you know. And they want an old-time move of God. I don't want an old-time move of God. Thank goodness it was good there, but how many knows God don't do anything the same way twice? And whatever he's doing, he gets better and better. So, you know, I don't like to sound like a broken record, but when things are being reformed, okay, and that's why we're doing this 3-day thing. God spoke to me about this 3-day thing, and he said, this is where ministry's going. Because you've got to help create an atmosphere, watch this, to help people break their cycles and get out of them. Because we can teach to you about cycles or changing your belief system, but then you go right back into the same atmosphere that you had before you came this morning. And so you hear a message, you're like, oh man, that's good, I'm going to do that. And most time before you can get home, you done forgot what you heard. Come on, it's true, and it's not even because you're old. You know, the Bible says, you know, the enemy comes immediately to steal the word of the kingdom. Are you with me? And so, you know, I'm challenging you in this because you're not going to get away from it. You're going to start to hear it more and more and more, and you're going to start to hear things that you've never heard. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Come on, don't you want to hear things you've never heard before, see things you've never seen before? I mean, that's what the spiritual realm is supposed to be about. So let me read this passage to you out of Colossians. Chapter 1, verse 16. I know we know it, but I want to just pound it in this morning. For by him all things were created. That'd be God, right? Yes. That are in heaven, that are on earth, that are visible and invisible. So whether you can see them or you can't see them, they were still all made by him. Whether thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created through him and for him. So everything was created by him, and guess what? It was created for him. So you are for his pleasure. Do you think about that for a second? So if he created you for his pleasure, you could never be disappointing to him. Because he's the one that created you the way he created you. So that's why I tell people, never tell your kids you're disappointed in them, because that has nothing to do with your kid, that has to do with you.
Yes. Right.
So God is never disappointed with you. Yeah, but you don't know what I done. He still is not disappointed in you. He may not agree with your behavior, but your behavior is not who you are. Come on, an 8-year-old got it and wrote a song about it, and y'all still wondering about it.
There you go.
He ain't got to go through unpacking all that religion we had to unpack for 20 minutes this morning, right? And he is before all things, and in him all things consist. Now wait a minute. What about lost people? What about the bad stuff out there? It says all things consist in him. He's the one that made all things. I know you don't like this, but Isaiah, and it's not the message, it's all free. But Isaiah said he created evil. Come on, if God created all things. Oh, it then got quiet. Now, I'm going to show you what that means in a second. I'm not saying God's evil. God can't even be tempted by evil. The only time God has ever been tempted by evil is when he put on a flesh suit. Because there's no evil in him. And the reason he put on a flesh suit is so he could be tempted the way you're tempted. So that you can never look at him and go, you don't understand what I'm going through. Really? Oh, yes, I do. Are you with me? But if you're truly going to be like him, he had to become like you to defeat what man did, which man opened up evil. So in other words, God had understanding of what evil was, but God had no thought of evil. Why? Because he's perfect love. And if God is perfect love, then the very name of perfect love, if you have to create something that you can give that love to, or you're not love. Because that's what makes you love. Is that you got something to show that you're love. And so the greatest expression of love is giving somebody something that they don't receive, they didn't ask for, they wasn't looking for, they reject, and you continue to give it until you win them over. See, we read about it, but we don't understand it. He tells you in Romans chapter 8, what's going to separate you from his love? So tell me, what's going to separate you from his love? There's nothing. I don't care what you've been taught. You can take all of those sermons and go back to what the Bible says. He says, nothing will separate you from the love of God. So when does God quit? He does not. He cannot. Because the very nature of who he is, it's not what he does. Love is not something he does. Love is something he is. And see, what's happening is we're having a reformation of love. And it's going against so many things that we've been taught, because we've been taught his love's conditional. You do good, he likes you. You do bad, he gonna get you. Right? So when we see somebody going through something, we go, well, you know, that's your fault. You did that. And then we just stand back and say, well, you know, you made your bed, well, just lay in it. Come on, anybody hear that? So let me ask you something. So let's say you got a kid, and your kid, and you get in an argument, and your kid goes and gets drunk, and kid has a wreck, and wrecks his truck, and in the bar ditch bleeding, and you get a call, and they say, hey man, your son's down here, he just had a wreck, and he's in the bar ditch bleeding, man, you better do something, he's gonna die. And you say, well, he deserves it. Come on. That's how we look at God. Oh, well, you know, he was drinking. Well, he deserves to get that. Well, he disagreed with me. He deserves to get that. How many parents, I mean, you wouldn't even put the phone down. You would done been running to get your car to get down there to do something to get your kid out of that pain. You would do everything in your power to go after your kid. You'll break the law to get to your kid. See, God didn't break it, he just fulfilled it. He fulfilled the law to get to you. Every wrong thinking, every wrong behavior pattern, everything. He said, what's going to separate you from me? Oh, you think that separates? Just hang on, I'm working on that. He said, I'm not going to leave you in that ditch. I'm not going to let you die. I'm not going to let you bleed out. You're my son. And because you're my son, I'm going to keep pursuing you. Get drunk tomorrow, I'm still coming again. Go to the hospital, I'm going to show up there. See, somewhere you got to start to identify with the character of your God, not just the theology of what preachers told you who your God was. I don't know why I'm going there. It's not even my message. So, religious people really don't like this part right here. For it pleased the Father that in him all the fullness should dwell, and by him to reconcile all things to himself. Whether these things are on earth, whether there's things in heaven, having made peace through the blood of his cross. How many things? So he's not freaking out over your drug problem or over your potty mouth. See, we judge each other on our behavior, but we judge the other people by what they do, right? But you want to be judged by who you are.
That's correct.
So until we can shift and judge the way God judges, then we're actually judging ourselves every time we release judgment on somebody. Oh, well, they're getting what they deserve. Matter of fact, Proverbs tell you when you do that the very thing that was on them will release off of them and come on you. Why? Because you're a creator. You're creating your own judgment. It's not God judging you. You're doing it. It's really quiet here this morning. Look at your neighbor and say, I was blessed before I was cursed. So I'm going to hit on some things I hit on Wednesday night and then just take you into some stuff. But Genesis 1, 26, 27, and 28, and I've taught you this over and over, but I'm going to keep hitting this thing until we can totally start to shift. And that's one of the things the 3-day program's about, is to create environment to make things easy for you, not just to tell you what to do, but to show you how to do it. Y'all out there? Because there's a lot of people that want to change, they don't know how to change. And so then you're intimidated and afraid of what you don't understand. That's why a lot of people are with the gym. They know they needed to go to the gym, but then they go to the gym and they see people that, are really fit and all this stuff, and they're like, and then they feel stupid trying to start off with these people, and so they just quit. They don't go back. Or they go there and they do something stupid. What is that? They do everything they can do the first day. And the second day they're hurting so bad they ain't ever going back again. So in these passages, I've been trying to show you if your beginning is off, the whole pattern's off. Everything's off. So what the church does, and two, we get scared out of the book of Revelation because, we don't understand the book of Revelation because we don't understand the book of Genesis. If you don't understand God's plan through the whole thing, I can see where you can get all messed up and think he's just going to destroy half the planet, burn it up, right? Go off for a few years, just take a few people, let everybody else stew down here in tribulation, chaos, and pain, and, then come back and deliver all the people and then give you an earth that's been burned up and messed up and say, here, this is your inheritance. Sorry, I know none of y'all ever been taught that stuff. So, in the beginning of this thing, he's creating, and he says, let us, so that's the Trinity, make man in our image, and he goes on down, and in verse 28, he said, and he blessed them. Everybody say he blessed them. So this is before anything ever got messed up. So before anything got messed up, you were blessed. So how does God see you? Blessed. It's the rule of what? Anybody know? First mention. It's how he saw you from the beginning. You're blessed. Why? Because he saw you through Jesus. Well, how do he see you through Jesus? Because the last book of the Bible tells you that Jesus was slain before the foundation of the world. So the foundation of the world was before the first 6 days of creation. So the answer to the problem existed before the problem existed. So was there ever a problem? Okay, I'm going to go over here. If the creator of the universe fixed the problem before there was a problem, there never was really a problem. You just think there's a problem. Because with God, there is no problems. And I tell you this all the time, the reason you have trouble communicating with God is because you always want to talk to him about your problems. And he's trying to let you know, I have no problems. And neither do you.
Thank you.
R.W. Shambach, coined that phrase. You have no problems. All you need is faith in God, right? I mean, he's prophesying. God don't have no problems. God's not going, I wonder what the devil's going to do today. You know, it's not a chess game. It's not checkers. There is no game. If he created everything, then everything he created, he's in charge of it. So why would you be afraid of anything that you created? It doesn't matter if it looks like it's doing something. You created it. So you know where it's going to end up. Well, you understand what I'm saying? In other words, I created this chair to be a chair. Okay? Now, Betty and her sister here want to play basketball, and they're going to take this chair and they're going to go in there and play basketball. How many knows it ain't going to work real good for them? And finally, they're going to realize, wait a minute, this wasn't never meant to play basketball with. This is meant to set in. It's a lot more comfortable. God was never freaking out going, oh my gosh, I've got to go deal with Betty. Betty thinks the chair is a basketball. No, he gives you the right. If you want to go try to play basketball with it, it's going to cost you some bumps and bruises. All right? But sooner or later, because you're made in the creation of God and he's never going to leave you and he's always going to pursue you, he knows you're going to figure out the chair's meant to set in. Why? Because you were blessed before there was a problem. So if you were blessed before there was a problem and he fixed it, there really is no problem. The only problem there is you think there's a problem. And when you think there's a problem, you create a situation that really doesn't have to be created. You actually create it to find identity in something that you're addicted to. Wow. And so that's why it's so uncomfortable when truth comes, because when truth comes, truth is what shows you what a lie is. Another lie does not expose a lie. So until you truly hear truth, lies are never confronted. So what's happening is there is a truth that is coming, watch this, not about just scripture, but about who God is. And when the character of God starts getting revealed, what does it do? It confronts every lie that you've been told of who he is. And at that moment, guess what? You have the power to change. Because the only thing that has the power to change you is truth. Doctrine cannot change you. Theology cannot change you. Truth is not a doctrine or a theology. It's a person. He is the way. He is the truth. He is the life. And when truth really is shown, at that moment, that's what gives you the power to change. You can't change any other way. You can fake it till you make it, but you ain't gonna make it. That's like holding a tennis ball underwater. You may not see that tennis ball, but sooner or later you're gonna let go. What happened? Bloop, bloop. Comes back to the top. Why? Because there's laws in operation. But he's telling you everything's gonna be reconciled in him. All right. So let me put it to you like this. Whether you do or don't do, he's already done. That's the good news of the gospel. He doesn't have to have you to get it done. It already is done. He'd done it himself before he ever started it. So he never depended on man to get something done. He depended on the God-man to do it before he ever created the man. He knew what the man was going to do. He's God. He's the one that created the man. He knew exactly what the man was going to need to overcome. That's why he said, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take on a man suit. I'm going to do it for them. So if I'm going to create a man in my image to be like me, then I have to give that man the opportunity to choose what he wants, even though what he wants is not good, because it's in him. And he's got to come to the reality that he thinks it's good, but it's going to turn out to be evil. Are you with me? So this is the plan that he's orchestrating in our life. And what's happening right now, it feels like we're on a lake that is frozen. And even though your mind tells you the lake is frozen, you know there's water underneath the ice. So what are you saying? You know you're going to go swimming. It's just a matter of time. Because the ice is cracking. And you think I'm going to try to get to the other side without it cracking. Honey, you're going swimming. You're going to get dunked in it. You can resist for a while. You can act like it ain't going to break, but it's going to break. Religion's going to break. Doctrine that you have stood on for years is cracking. Yeah. So if you think, well, I'm just going to go to another church and get away from it, it's just a matter of time. They're going to get it. Why? Because God's in control, not the church. God's in control, not the man. So I'm telling you, the frozen ice of religion is cracking and busting, and we about to go swimming. And the good news is when you go swimming, the water ain't going to be cold. I don't know where I'm going this morning. So in Genesis chapter 3, let's go there. Yeah, that's right. You're skating on thin ice. That's an oldie but a goodie, right? Let me just preach this to you instead of teaching it this morning. And so in Genesis, we see where, oh boy. Here's what's been one of the biggest problems of the church, and the church still don't want to deal with it, okay? But you're going to have to deal with it because it's truth. And once again, when truth shows up, it confronts the lie. Did you know Jesus said this, nothing outside of you is what defiles you? There's nothing outside of a man that defiles the man. But what does the church do? The religious church is always telling you what you can't do because that's what defiles you. Matter of fact, when Jesus showed up, he said, oh, you think this, this, and this. I tell you, if it's in your heart, you already done it. He said, so religion wants to focus on your behavior, the symptom, and never go to the root. God always shows up and said, I ain't interested in the behavior. I'm going to go to the root, which is the heart. Because I change the heart, then the symptoms change. The behavior changes. Man does the opposite. We try to go after the behavior to change the inside. The behavior, the symptoms will never change the root. But what have we done? Oh, that devil, he come messing with me today. Yeah, he lives in you. Oh, see, you got it right. Part of it, you got it right. Oh, it's the devil. Oh, yeah, it is. But he's not out there. Think about it. Adam took it in him. And in him come death. In him come the carnal thinking. That's why Jesus said, look, it ain't that stuff out there that's going to defile you. It's the way you think. It's that beast nature on the inside of you. It's your carnal thinking. Paul said it like this. He said, if you think carnally, you're going to die. So where is that carnal nature? In you. What do we want to do? Oh, well, you know, this person did it, and that did it, and this did it, that, everything out here did it. No, that didn't defile you. The only way you can be defiled is if you determine to be defiled from the inside out. So that's what Jesus did. He come to take on the earth suit. Why? Because Mary had the nature of the beast. Okay, so let me just be plain with you when we're going to go into Revelation. But the beast is not the 666 that's coming in a chip. I'm sorry, but it's not. I know you've been lied to. I know you've been afraid of it. The beast, you already got the beast. That's why he compared Satan to the beast. He said, you're more cunning than all the beasts of the field. And then he was cursed. He said, now you're cursed above all the beasts of the field. So in the book of Genesis, he compares him to a snake. In the book of Revelation, it compares him to a dragon. Because in Genesis, he's just ruling on the inside of a few people. In the book of Revelations, he's ruling over what? Nations. Hello. I'm not going to read it to you, but I'll show you this. From the time that he gave a prophecy, that God gave a prophecy, he said, Satan's seed and the woman's seed, they're going to be hostility. But the day's going to come that the woman's seed's going to crush Satan's seed. He's prophesying about Jesus, the woman's seed. It's going to crush who? Satan's seed that Adam let in. Why? Because he's going to do it in him. So both two seeds were in Christ. Before Christ, everybody had the nature of Adam. Okay, so everybody had the nature of Adam. Is that true? It says, in Adam all sin. So Jesus comes from this side, the woman, nature of Adam, but he also comes from another realm, Daddy God. And both seeds now living in a human, in an earth suit. And that's why he said, I don't do anything unless I hear or see my Father do it. So in other words, he was totally yielded to another realm to overcome this realm. So he never moved out of the carnal thinking. He never moved out of the carnal thinking. He always moved by the Spirit. He said, if you are led, if you're a son, you're led by the Spirit of God. And if you're led by the Spirit of God, you will never fulfill the lust of the flesh. Are you with me? Now, we're going to go into this in the 3-day, but I'm going to give you a little teaser. Here's one of the biggest problems in the church. And we're just now starting to come into some of this revelation. Jesus didn't die for you, he died as you. So if the first man was the first Adam, are you with me? And he was of the dust. The second man was the last Adam. So after Jesus, there's been no more Adam. Well, how could there be no more Adam? So there was only 2 men on the earth. There's ever only been 2. Look at your husband and smile. Everybody came from those 2 corporate men. Come on, Paul said it. From Adam, all sinned. You're after the dust man. In Christ, all have been made alive. So in Christ, he killed the old man, Adam. Why? Because you were crucified with him. It says, he tasted death for every man. What's he talking about? The corporate man, Adam, of the dust, Jesus put on dust, took your curse. What was the curse? The beast nature. Carnal thinking. Your own opinion, your own idea, your own, living by the 5 senses instead of living by the Spirit. So he came to prove out you can live by the Spirit. You can live from a higher realm. See, Eden was not a physical place. That's why they can't find it. So let me give you some information here. If Eden was a spiritual place that is an in-between earth and heaven, or where God's throne is, put it that way, okay? And man was driven out of there when he ate of the, what? Tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which y'all know what that means. He listened to the words of Satan. You with me? And he was driven out, so he had to descend. So man descended into a realm lower than what Eden was. You okay? And he took with him the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The tree of knowledge of good and evil is no longer in Eden. How do you know? Because it was connected to a message, which was the beast. And when the beast ate, when he gave it to Adam, what happened? He said, now upon your belly, you will eat dust. Wasn't no dust in Eden. Where's the dust? Man was made out of the dust of the earth. So Satan, the beast nature, went in man, and he was driven out of the garden because now he's in man because man has eaten of death. And so now for Satan to get anything done, he doesn't show up at your house in a red suit and a pitchfork and little pointed ears. You say, oh, I'm facing Satan. What does he look like? Your neighbor? Person driving down the road? Your boss? You? I mean, think about it. How do you get confronted? Oh, y'all ain't. All right. Okay. Well, just look at it. If you want to know how the first Adam was tempted, let's look at the second Adam. It's real easy to see this. Jesus gets filled with the power and gets driven into the wilderness to be tempted. So in other words, when God is pleased with you, Satan's coming. Let me say that again. When God is pleased with you, Satan's coming. Why? Because God wants to promote you, and the only way he can promote you is for you to kill the carnal nature. Because as long as you're living by the carnal nature, you can't overcome. So he blesses you, he fills him with his spirit, and then says, okay, one translation said it drove him into the wilderness. But how many knows he didn't show up on the first day? Why? Because that carnal nature is not stupid. It knows you. It studied you for 6,000 years. It's going to wait till you get weak. But the good news is God says where you're weak, he's strong. So he hadn't eaten for 40 days. So let me ask you something. You think Jesus is in the wilderness and he hadn't eaten for 40 days and all of a sudden he looks up and here comes this red creature with a pitchfork? No. Where did he come? Right here. He tempted him right here. You know what he's saying? Oh, the heavens opened, saying you're the Son of God. Well, if you're truly the Son of God, prove. Ain't nobody there but him. Are you with me? He's fighting him right here. Why? Because he took it for you. See, that was your curse. In Galatians where he said he took your curse, that's the curse. How do you know? Show me the first person cursed. See, y'all got to act like you read your Bible. Come on, he goes to the woman said it wasn't me. Or he goes to the man says it wasn't me, it's the woman. Right? Kind of like Houston weather. That's why it's called Mother Nature, because she can't make her mind up. She won't get cold or hot. Okay. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about. It's a woman in menopause. You know, it's hot, then it's cold. This is Houston, man. Make up your mind. We ain't supposed to be going through this. All right, sorry, side road. Just giving my own opinion here. So what happens here? Okay, he's going to throw some money in the pot on that one. Just give me your whole wallet. So watch this. So the man says, it wasn't me. It's, right? Yeah. It's the woman. Woman goes, no, it wasn't me. It's that serpent. You know what she's saying? You're the one that created all things. So he goes to the serpent, what does he say? He says, now you're cursed. That's the first curse. And it looks like it's a bad thing. Oh my goodness, this devil, he's messed up everything. He's messed up Adam, he's messed up, really? Because all things were created by him and for him. You think he didn't know? Would you put your kid in the garden and not tell him there's a snake there? He just said, don't eat. This is what he told him, in the day you do eat, you're going to let death in. There's always a plan. God don't have plan B. I'm sorry they told you that God was confused and didn't know what was going on. If you believe that, I'm really confused why you're worshiping him. Because if that's the case, then tell me who God is. So you're telling me somebody that created everything, that the thing he created decided to do something that he didn't create it to do. Then who's God? See, somewhere you got to come back to the character of the God you're worshiping. See, that may be your daddy, but that ain't my daddy. My daddy's not going to be in charge. He's always in charge. He created everything. He knows everything. You're not going to slip anything in on him. He fixed it before there's ever a problem. So with him, there's never a problem. It's just a plan. See, so your problem is his plan. And you don't realize he's using the problem to get you into his plan. And if he has a will and it's his plan and you have a will and it's a problem, he'll use the problem to get it to a plan. And I promise you, you're going to get into his plan. Oh, you think you got a will. It's coming down. How do you know? He said, every knee will bow, every tongue will confess. He said, lift me up, I'll draw all men. Colossians says all is going to be reconciled in him. He is God. He's always been God. And he will never cease not to be God. It doesn't matter how you believe. You're going to change because he does not change. It's just a matter of time. He'll wait you out. He's got eternity. Everybody look around and smile. See, guys, this is really the good news. You're really hearing the good news. And that's why it's so confrontational, because when you hear the truth for the first time, you get angry. You get mad. It's fight or flight. You want to argue, or you're just like, I'm going to get away from that. That's heresy. Well, I just challenge you. Just go inward. Can't get away. Listen, guys, do you think if anybody would have got away, it would have been me? If you knew me, you would know. He's telling the truth. Because there's any way to get around it, I tried. Do you think I just decided, I think I'll just start preaching this message? No, I can't get away from the message because I'm the message. I know it's amazing to me when people come and, they work as a carpenter for 10 hours a day, right? And they show up and then they want to argue with you over what the Bible says. Well, it says it right here, black and white. I said, really? I said, yeah. I said, so you're operating in something outside of the time to where it was accurate, but now it's no longer relevant. If you don't believe me, go home tonight or today, build you a big temple in your front yard, go get you some goats and some sheep, take them out in your front yard, slice their throat, let the blood run, put it on an altar. Police will be at your door within 30 minutes. You going to jail. Right? Take your kids out behind the house that's been rebellious, get you some rocks and stone them to death. Now wait a minute, it says it right here in the Bible. You're exactly right. But now you're out of time. Oh, it then got quiet. So what was relevant to them and accurate in their time no longer is truth to us. That's why God said, Darrin said he helped God. Don't live by the Bible. Never says live by the Bible. It says live by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Why? Because God will tell you what you need to hear here. But when you get over here, he got another word for you. And that word won't work. How do you know? Let me prove it to you. Hey, God, he's smart. He said, hey, Elijah, let me tell you something. Go tell the enemies here, which is my church. So it was, Ahab. He said, tell them it ain't going to rain. Except it's your word. That's the man, isn't it? So you go to the church of the day and you say, hey, it's not going to rain. Except at my word. Then you leave. All right, God, it ain't going to rain. Where do you want me to hang out? Why don't you go down to the brook? And I'm going to, give you water from the brook, and I'm going to call birds to come and feed you. That's some dominion, isn't it? Yes. Was that a word from God? Yeah. Was it an accurate word from God? Yes. It didn't take long. The brook started drying up. Bless God, I ain't leaving. My mama's, daddy's, sister's, uncle's nephew went to this church, and I'm not leaving this church. I was raised here, and I'll never leave here. It's dried up, baby. There's no life in the river. And then God shows up and tells you to do something crazy. Hey, go to the widow woman. God, widow women don't have husbands. They have nobody to take care of them. God's like, we're in a famine anyway. What difference does it make? So Elijah can't get mad that the brook's drying up because he's the one that prophesied that it ain't going to rain. And God hadn't told him to say, rain. So you stay where you're at and you're dying, or you do the stupid thing that the Spirit told you to do, that the natural says, you're going to die. Well, what difference does it make? Die here, die there. Are you understand what I'm saying? And then when he goes to her, this is what he says. He says, hey, what you doing? Well, I'm gathering a couple sticks here, and I'm going to got a little meal, and I'm going to fix something for me and my son, and then we're going to die. We're going to eat it and die. Oh, well, that's good. But hey, before you do that, bring me something to eat. How arrogant, you male chauvinist pig. No, you know what he understood? Her life was now attached to him. Why? Because he's the one that's carrying the rain. Now, listen, he's not carrying the meal. He's carrying the rain. Because it can't rain except at his word. So he's got a word now to go to the widow woman. So he tells the widow woman, look, God didn't tell him to do this. He's like, I'm hungry. Hey, woman, you want to live? Fix me something to eat first. Because I'm carrying the rain. And what has she got to lose? She's going to die anyway. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So she fixes it to him, brings it to him. And when she does that, because she obeyed and he had the word of the Lord, the meal didn't run out until the rain came. Until the abundance. But who was carrying the abundance? Elijah. Well, what if he would have just stayed on the first road? He'd have died at the brook. What is religion? Religion wants to tell you how to live with what has been written down. That's what religion is. Can you imagine in Jesus' day? I want you to think about this, man. Jesus shows up and they got the written book. They got the old covenant. And he comes and starts preaching. They say, hey, God wrote this and give it to us through Moses. We got it right here in black and white, baby. He goes, you heard this, but I say this. What am I telling you? The power is in the spoken word that he's speaking to you at the time, because when he speaks, that's where spirit and life is. He showed them that through the manna. The manna came one day, they got enough to eat, but if they brought any extra in, what happened? Become rotten. Religion tells you what they believe when they walk in the door. They're pretty arrogant. Sorry. Well, that's what's weird about this church. You know, it doesn't have all the things that you believe. Why? Because we're changing. Oh, you got married and you're going to tell your wife how it's all going to work out? We'll see how that works. No, it's a mystery. It's a relationship. You're living it out together. The moment you think you know exactly how it's going to happen, Mother Nature. It's going to change on you. See, that's exactly what religion is. Well, it's this way, bless God, and we ain't changing. You're going to die. Matter of fact, you're already dead. You just don't know it. Somebody needs to tell you, you're stinking. Well, listen, this is common sense. If we're in a relationship with a God that doesn't change, who has to change? And if you believe the same thing that you believed 3 years ago, you're not changing. So if you're not changing and he's life, what are you? Sorry. I didn't mean to be near this confrontational today. I was feeling happy this morning. I mean, you only have to go 6 chapters. I mean, think about this. The beast nature comes in Adam, right? I mean, right after the beast nature comes in, he's got 2 boys, and they bring an offering to God, and he rejects Cain's offering because Cain was a tiller of the ground, which is the carnal nature, because he pronounced a curse on Adam. What was it? Cursed is the ground. What was Adam made out of? The ground, the carnal nature, the thinking. The curse is attached to how you think. He got mad at God and killed his brother. Why y'all mad? Y'all do it all the time. So you're mad at your relationship with God, but you're killing your brother. How you doing it? With your words? Judging them. So it actually comes back on you. So God says, hey, your brother's blood's crying out from the ground. Why? Because the life is in the blood. Are you with me? And I'm not going to go through this, but you can go all the way through where then the curse came on who? Cain. It was an outward. He says, it's too much for me to bear. And he lays out this whole thing. But if you'll look, and then his DNA starts handed down, and it gets to a point that one of his killed somebody. Remember when Jesus said, you got to forgive 70 times 7? Y'all remember that? Let me show you where that come from. This will help you. Genesis chapter 4. Verse, where am I at? The 15. And the Lord said to him, therever who kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him 7-fold. And the Lord set a mark on Cain, lest anyone finding him should kill him. All right, look at verse 23. Then Lamech said to his wives, and Adai and Zillah, bear my voice. Wives of Lamech, listen to my speech. For I've killed a man for wounding me, even a young man for hurting me. If Cain shall be avenged 7-fold, then Lamech 77-fold. So Jesus, when they're asking him, see, they don't mean nothing to you, but the Jews knew this story. So when it came to them, he said, how much we got to forgive our neighbor? He said, 70 times 7. He's taking it all the way back to the curse of Cain. Y'all think he just made up that number? They say, oh, well, that's just an indefinite number. No, he's taking it back to the very first curse. Why? Because Jesus was going to come and take your curse. Wow. How'd he take your curse? He put on the man suit and took the beast nature. But he also had what? From another realm, and he used the spirit to overcome the carnal nature. Are you following me? Okay, I'm going to land this real quick. I needed some inspiration there. In chapter 6 of Genesis, he comes and his heart is grieved. The reason is all of mankind's heart, or their inward thinking, has become continually evil. It's just 6 chapters. We don't know how much time was there, but from the time the beast nature got into Adam till Genesis chapter 6, it's like all of mankind, their thoughts was wickedness, except one. Is that what it said? He said, but Noah. Everybody say, but Noah. Found favor in my sight. It's only 6 chapters. What am I trying to show you? I'm trying to show you where your problem is. Are you with me? It was coming from the inside out, not the outside in. So we got the blessing in 128. And then chapter 3, we got the cursings. And then we see what he did with Noah. And then he finds a man, Abraham, shows up to Abram, says, I'm going to bless you. So what does he start off with? A blessing. And makes him a promise connected to that blessing that all the families of the earth are going to be blessed by him. Why? Because the Messiah was going to come through his seed. That's why he was going to be blessed. Not because he came from Israel. Sorry, read it. He was a Chaldean. He worshiped the sun and the moon. It's a bloodline, not a place in the Middle East. You following me? So we go through here, and then we see the law come about. And then in Deuteronomy, remember he wanted them to be kings and priests, and they rejected it. They wanted Moses. They wanted a system. They wanted a man to go up in here and come back and tell what God said, and then they'll decide if they want to do it. And so then in Deuteronomy chapter 28, we all know the first part of it is what? Blessed, blessed, blessed. Everything's blessed if you obey God. Now listen, if that is part of the covenant, then it had to be available for them to obey God, because how mean is a God to give them something they couldn't obey? He said, but if you disobey, the last half of Deuteronomy 28 is all cursings. Is that true? And he said, and I'll call heaven and earth to witness against you. Well, listen, they could fulfill everything in obedience with one thing. Don't put any other gods before me. If they fulfilled that one, they could fulfill them all. If you break that one, you break them all. So what'd they do? They went worshiping other gods. Come on, you're out there. I mean, Moses told them, hey, you got life and death. Choose life. Yeah. Well, he wouldn't tell them to choose it if it wasn't available to choose it. Are you all right? Yeah. So we see in Matthew 4, we see the man come. Here's the God man. Now, we know he took on Adam, and he's going to be the last Adam. So now he's spirit in an earth suit with 2 natures. And immediately when that happens, he gets tested to see, what are you going to live by? You going to live by spirit, or are you going to live by carnal? And so he comes to him in his mind. The 3 temptations, you know what those are. And he defeats every one by saying what? My Father has said, my Father has said, my Father has said. Okay? It is written, it is written. How many knows the devil knows it's written? He tried to use the word on him. But you know, he'll do the same thing with you. You'll justify what you believe by speaking the word. But you're speaking the word out of context, and it doesn't mean what you think it means. That's why you can't get it to work. And then you're mad at God when you can't get him to do what you want him to do. He said, no, that's not the way it works. He said, if you abide in me and I abide in you, then you can ask what you will. But to abide in him means you have to be in union with truth. So as long as you're in union with deception, you can quote the word all day long. Ain't going to work for you. Well, he told his people like this. He said, depart from me. I never knew you. You know why? Because their whole relationship based on God was based out of the law. It's an intimate relationship. He said, I didn't know you. He said, your relationship was with the law. I honored that covenant. Why? Because you're my son. He said, but you didn't know me. He said, matter of fact, he said it like this. He said, your lips praise me, but your heart ain't nowhere close to me. Once again, from the inside out. He said, so I'm going to reject you But it's part of my plan. I'm not mad at you. I'm just going to harden your heart in your deception. And in your deception, I'm going to harden your heart, and I'm going to turn to people that not even looking for me. Because I'm going to show you how good I am. I'm not just good because I'm good. I'm good. Why? Because they believed he was good just because he was good to them. He said, no, I'm going to show you how good I am by not showing my goodness to you. I'm going to show my goodness to them. Because you don't understand the hardening of your heart is my goodness. Because I'll harden your heart there, then I'll give you mercy. Because right now you can't handle mercy because you're in your own way trying to develop a relationship with me that's not me. It's based on a shadow. It's based on a type. And you think that's the truth. That's not the truth. I'm the truth. And I showed up and you don't even know what truth is. You're so bound in your religious things, in your written word, you say, I got life right here. And he's going, really? Dude, I created everything. I am life. No, we got Abraham. I was before Abraham. He didn't say I was. He said I am. Why? Because there's no past or present with God or future with God. Everything's present. That's why you can't go to your past to heal your past. Because you're trying to fix something that he considers is not even a problem. Why? Because the cross already fixed the problem. You say, oh, the cross is in the past. No, it's not, baby. The cross happened outside of time. It happened outside of time, and then in the fullness of time came into your world. But the cross existed before time existed. So the cross is never past or future. Cross is present right now. Anytime, always, every day. Why? Because it happened outside of time. That's why Jesus constantly said, I'm the, what? Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end. Okay, I'm gonna shut the book to encourage you. Why am I telling you this, okay? I'm telling you this is because we're on a track, and you know, most of y'all probably know by now that I'm crazy. We love you though. Okay? And I'm willing to go into the crazy to show you what's available. Okay? So if God came here as a man and God, and he operated in another realm, and then we're going to do greater works than him, what should we be doing? Operating in another realm. So did God talk to dead people? So were they dead? But your five senses tells you that they're dead.
Their bodies are dead. Their spirits are alive.
So he comes out, goes into a realm, lets three people see that he's talking to Moses and Elijah. Why? Because he come to fulfill what Moses and Elijah did. The law and the prophets. Are you following me? So we're still trying to get our belief system from a book when he wants you to get it from a realm. Because when you get it from a realm, you get it from a person. How did Jesus operate in it? He got it from a realm. Okay, this is going to mess you up. But the realm's not out there. The realm was in him. So everything you're dealing with has nothing to do with out here. It's on the inside of you. So he come and killed the old realm. The last Adam, he killed that realm. He tasted death for everybody. Did y'all get that? So then if he tasted death for everybody and killed the old man, what are you dealing with sin for? Because he didn't kill your flesh. So the old man, the nature of the old man and the flesh are two different things. Oh, come on, guys. Look at your neighbor and say, you got some flesh on you. In that flesh, you got a five senses. It's your carnal thinking. He didn't kill your carnal thinking. He just set you free from it. He killed your old man, your old nature. So if you're sinning and you enjoy it, your old nature, you're still operating in your own nature. But if you sin and you're grieved, Paul said, it's no longer I that's sinning. I'm yielding to the law that's in my mind, my carnal nature. Who will set me free from this? Hey, the law of sin and death is what? It's going to be overcome by the law of the Spirit of life. Another realm from Christ. But that realm's not up there, it's in me. So when I take the realm that's in me to overcome the carnal nature and the carnal thinking, I don't sin. My old man can't sin, he's dead. Listen, that's why all through the new covenant, he'll say, Romans 12, what are you supposed to do? Present yourself a living sacrifice, hopefully acceptable, good service. Why? Renew your mind. You know what that means? Renovate. Reformation. Oh, y'all thought I didn't know where I was going, didn't you? I knew all along. So you know why you get mad at me? Because I am reforming your brain. I'm renovating you. And I'll promise you, it's much easier to build a new house than to renovate an old one. Oh, you understand what I'm saying? Because you tearing some stuff out. And when you getting stuff tore out, you don't like it. But in a few months, you come back going, oh my gosh, why didn't somebody tell me? And you see how good it is that you ain't got 80s wallpaper on there anymore. Hello, y'all understand what I'm saying? But we resist the change. Why? Because we want to know how it's all going to work out. Listen, that's not how the spirit world works. Okay? I'm going to end with this because I went over. Maybe. Just because you know I'm crazy, I'm going to give you this. You know I've been going after some things concerning hell. Okay. Because I've done a study on it, and everything in Jesus' teaching, when he relates to hell, has nothing to do with eternal torment. Matter of fact, I'll show you where the word eternal was not even in the original. It's aeon. Eternal and everlasting is aeon. So when Jesus showed up and he said, I come to give you everlasting life, the word is aeon. It's not how long life is, it's the quality of the life while you're here. I come to give you life and life more abundantly. Where? Here. Aeon means age. So every time Jesus is referring to it, he's referring to the literal torment that people are in their carnal beast nature. Every time he refers to it. Now I can show you in Peter and Jude, they're talking, and they talk about hell that's not talking about that. It's a different thing, okay? And we'll get there. But I'm just telling you, Jesus is my example. See, this was going to be tough for people. But here's the question, and I've done this, okay? When you do something wrong to someone, what does he command for you to do? When they do something wrong to you, you got to forgive them. But if they do something wrong to him by rejecting him, he can put them in eternal torment forever. Now, wait a minute. So he can ask you to do something. He don't even ask you. He commands you. You got to forgive or I won't forgive you, which is not even what it means. Another story. Okay? Because he already chose to forgive you. See, the church has told you that if you don't forgive, you can't be forgiven. That's a lie. Oh, I felt that one. I'm going to go over here. Yeah, I felt that one. Once God says something, he can't get it back. So there's the power in what he says to accomplish what he says, period. So when he said forgive them, they don't know what they do, he's talking to mankind. He's getting quiet in here. I thought y'all were gracers. See, here's the thing. We can never get to where we're going until we lay the foundation of grace. Because until you quit trying to do it, you'll never even accept the true character of your God. So the true character of your God cannot tell you to do something that he doesn't do, because the only reason you can do what he's telling you to do is by him. Because he gives you everything. He said, you love because I first love you. You can forgive because I already forgave you. Everything starts with him and ends with him. Okay, so I know it's okay, so I'm telling you this just to tell you this. I had an encounter, and I didn't know if I should tell this or not, and I just felt like God said, just share it with them. I said, okay. And I went to hell. And it's not what you think. And this is what's crazy. When I went into hell, there was a person sitting there, and I'm looking over, and he's smiling at me. And I thought it was David, because I'd met David. It was Absalom. Y'all know who Absalom was, right? And when I saw him, and Absalom smiling at me, and he said, I want to show you something. He said, but it's not what you think. I thought, I'm in trouble. Now, I didn't feel in a bad way. I was like, he's about to show me something that's going to totally flip me out. And I saw some things about hell. It's not what we've been taught. Oh, you can't go to hell. Did Jesus go to hell? He said you'd do things that he did. Oh, it's getting quiet in here. So I'm going to end with this statement. You cannot change by reading the book. The only way you can change is by encountering the person. And when you encounter the person, every bit of religious doctrine that you encounter, he confronts. So you think I'm bad? Stay away from him. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse and worse. Really, it's getting gooder and gooder because he is truth. And he's going to show you things that nobody can take from you. Once you experience it, it doesn't matter. Listen, how you believe what I'm saying is not going to affect me. But you will never take from me what I encountered. And I will forever be changed. Because listen, I've had some thoughts for a while. But there were some people that said some things I couldn't confront. I didn't know. But with that encounter, it changed everything. It's just like the encounter I had when I went to heaven and I was married to the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And so you've been taught your whole life that you just have Holy Spirit here. That's a lie. The fullness of the Godhead was in Jesus. Jesus said, you're co-heirs with me. You'll be one with the Father the way I was one with Father. That means he was on earth in the fullness of God, Colossians. So if the fullness was in him, the fullness is in you. Amen. Are you with me? He's reconciling all things. So whatever you want to know, you can know if you really want to know. But I find out most people don't want to know. They already believe what they believe and you're not going to change them. So I'm not going to try to change you. I've never tried to change you. I'm just trying to introduce you to the person that when you meet him, you'll change. If you don't believe me, talk to Paul. Saul was killing them folks until he met Jesus, and all of a sudden his whole paradigm changed. Why? Because he saw something. Who? The person. Okay, so I'm just challenging you. He showed me some things on the way to church this morning. He said, that's why I felt like I was supposed to tell you this, because we're entering that dimension where it's going to start happening. Yes. And if you're not willing to embrace that, I'm talking about that spirit realm. Because he's not waiting for you to come to him, he's coming to you. Yeah. It's going to be in dreams, it's going to be in why do you think what's happening in the Middle East is happening? Yeah. You got Muslims just coming out going, I've accepted Jesus. They're going, what? He goes, he came into my room last night. He did, what? Who's Jesus? We serve Allah. Not anymore. He didn't even ask your permission to go over there and preach. Jesus just showed up. That's how good he is. He doesn't ask for permission. He is God. And this is what's happening all over the planet, guys. But when it happens, it's offensive. You think it wasn't offensive to the religious leaders when you just said, oh, you've heard it said. Right? And so what was his first message? Blessed, blessed, blessed. That's his first message. He starts telling them they're blessed. Why? Because they're all living under a curse. He shows up and says, not anymore. Because I didn't come to bring the law, I come to bring the blessing that was given to mankind. When God said, let us make man in our image, I'm him. He was the express image of the Father on the planet, reconciling all things to himself. So last thing, and I'm done. So Jesus went to the heaven in the spiritual realm and cleansed it, right? Is that right? Yes. What body went there? Flesh and blood can't inherit the kingdom. So what body went there? His glorified body. So what blood went there? Life's in the blood. I'm giving you something to think about. What am I telling you? There's supernatural things getting ready to happen that will not make sense to your brain. Because when they put him in that tomb, he was disfigured more than any man. He was ripped open like hamburger meat. But the same spirit that raised Jesus from the dead went into that body, healed him, raised him up, different than when he went in. His body didn't even receive any corruption. Oh, you understand what I'm saying? And he says that same spirit that raised him from the dead lives in you. God told me in the year 2019 into 2020, things are going to start to become 2020. You're going to start to see things like you have never saw them before, he said, because I'm taking what was blurry, I'm taking what was hidden, I'm taking what was marred, and I'm bringing complete restoration. He said, and the people that want to know will see clearly of who I am. Stand up with me. So, Father, I just pray over your people this morning. God, it is not our job to bring doctrine. God, it's our job just to point people to you. You are the truth. You are the life. And God, for years, the men and the women in the pulpit have been declaring what truth is. God, we say your truth, and you're jealous over your people, and you want them to know. Anybody that wants to know. And the ones that don't want to know because they think they already know, the blind leading the blind, you'll just harden them right there, and then you'll give them mercy. Because, God, you're good. And so, God, you know how to meet each and every one of us. So, God, I pray that blessing over our life today, that we encounter you with dreams and visions of who you are, not what man has told us. In Jesus' name, amen. You are released. See you Wednesday night.